Hello, my name is Obscura, and this is my commentary over my kill of Margrave for the Slime Serpent mount. First, I'm going to show you the talents that I used. I use Master of Time for the extra altar time, because this is the only way we're able to really efficiently heal ourselves. The rest of the talents are pretty much standard for single target. Okay, and from there, I will go into which gear I'm using. So I use Triune Ward on my necklace, and this is just because it was the cheapest and I got it just for this challenge. And I have versatility and mastery on it. Mastery for the mana regen and versatility for the damage reduction. And so if you don't know what this legendary does, is it makes it to where when you use a barrier spell, it'll cast all three, so one of each of the specs for the class. And it'll be 60% of the effectiveness for each of them, but overall it gave me 17k absorption, which is really good. And so for my conduits, I used Diverted Energy for the 35% healing from my barriers, which is really good with Fleshcraft plus the Prismatic Barrier and all the others. And then Cryo Freeze for the healing inside of Ice Block. And so what I do pre-pull, obviously I make sure I get all my buffs, all that fun stuff. I use Fleshcraft at the minute left on the cooldown. I use Prismatic Barrier, and once that cooldown is all the way done, I start by pressing Deathborn, and from Deathborn I blink in. And this is so that I can start getting my cooldown up before she actually engages, so it's a little bit less damage that I take. So you see I do that. Immediately touch the Magi into Arcane Power and Arcane Missiles. Once my barrier is broken, I put it back up. Immediately palm into the ad to make sure it doesn't get Touch of Slime off. And if it does, it's a wipe. So what? And Altar Time, well, just use Altar Time whenever you don't have either Fleshcraft or your barriers, and just let it go its course. If you're at max HP, you should not die before it goes off. And make sure that you're in a safe place, and don't use it if you're going to die to a tentacle when you go back. So I'm not using an intellect potion with my arcane power, because if you see over here, I have this potion that'll clear the poison stacks, and this is for an emergency in the last phase in case I need to clear my stacks and I already use Ice Block. I actually don't end up using it, but from here I just continue DPSing down until she phases. As you can see, I let myself drop really low, and then I alter time all the way back up. You want to have your barriers pretty much right off of cooldown at the beginning of the first intermission, so that your Prismatic Barrier will be back up off of cooldown by the beginning of the second phase. From here, you can see I'm at about 70%. This is about where you want to be for the first intermission, otherwise you'll just invis and reset it. I believe I will... I don't. Usually what I do there is I will... Let me go back there a second so I can explain. Usually if I'm below 70%, I'll use a health pod to get all the way to max, and this is just so that I have as much room as possible. But since I had my full barriers, I knew I was going to heal pretty much up to full anyways, so I'm guessing that's why I didn't do it. But I will replay from there. And as you can see, I have 18 seconds left on my barrier, and there's 11% left before 11 seconds left before it reemerges. So my barrier will be back off of cooldown before it starts. And so I Lust in this phase. I precast for Rune of Power, Lust, and then I Touch of the Magi, spam Arcane Missiles, and then Barrier when I need to. And then as soon as the ad spawns, I switch to it and just nuke it down. If at any point it gets a Touch of Slime off, or if it gets a Touch of Slime off, I'd recommend just resetting it, because it's not likely that you're going to finish it. Use your gem here as needed. And you can see I use Altar Time because both my barriers were down. Now I have my barrier back up right as Altar Time ends. And I nuke this. If you ever get two of these. So if you decide to just keep going and just soak the touch of slime like I did here, Excuse me, I had to sneeze for a second there. But I decided to soak it here because I knew I was about to phase her, so I knew I'd be able to get my health back during this. So went ahead and nuked it down. Just took the Toucher Slime because I knew I didn't have Palm up yet right when I needed it, so the Toucher Slime would have gone off, which it did. And if you don't soak it, it is guaranteed to wipe. So I went with this because I knew I'd be fine because it would phase. So I finished that. The boss is nearly about to go off, so I use IQD to fully heal there because I know I don't have any of my defensives yet except for Alter Time. But that's fine, so I phase it here. Use Prismatic Barrier, use my health potion to go as high as I can, which is what, see, that's why it's a good thing that I didn't use it earlier. And this phase is the easiest. This is actually my second time ever getting to this phase. It's really easy. It's just make sure you stay alive. I actually even got hit by a tentacle here right in a second because I'm done. I was just not paying attention, and it didn't even matter in the end because my barrier is right back up. So as you can see, I have Touch of the Magi and Arcane power back up, and I just go into the single target rotation. Just burn it down. Alter Time because I run out of my shields. Get my health back up. And I just keep going from here, and I could have flesh crafted it and then got to my prismatic barrier, but I just ice blocked just to be safe because I didn't want to wipe there. And I finished the kill at what's effectively about half HP. So there I just ran up and got my mount.